I just want to make a quick video. Monogamy prevents marriage. But under the system of monogamy, it is impossible for half the women to live in the enjoyment of the married state. This cruel and oppressive system is compelling them either to repress the fondest sensibilities and the most imperative demands of nature, and to renounce their dearest rights, or else to assert them in a clandestine and forbidden manner, and thus to abandon themselves to a life of infamy and an eternity of shame and woe. In older and more wealthy countries practicing monogamy, the comparative number of unmarried to married women is even greater. The statistical tables of England show that less than one-third of marriageable women of that country were living in marriage at the time of the last census. At the period of the highest glory of the Roman Empire, and also during its long decline, while wealth and luxury increased and the artificial conventionalities of society were greatly multiplied, it was observed with alarm that marriages became less and less frequent, and were consummated later and later in life, and all the power of the government was extorted in vain to arrest the growing evil. Heavy fines and special taxes were levied upon old bachelors, and high premiums paid to persons having numerous families. But the evil continued to increase till the empire was dismembered. In respect to the mode of the marriage ceremony, in respect to the mode of performing the marriage ceremony, the divine law does not prescribe any, and nothing more was necessary in ancient times to constitute a valid marriage than a mutual agreement or actual cohabitation. The ancient Romans had three different modes of trying the hymeneal knot, each with a different degree of looseness, but none of them were so firm as it should be. The ceremonies has always varied in different states, and at different times in the same state, and should never be regarded as anything more than a public recognition of a relationship already formed, completed between the parties. Yet as marriage is a matter of important consequences to the friends and kindred of the parties, and also to the whole state, involving public as well as private obligations, is immediately proper that some appropriate ceremonies should be performed, that it should be sufficient public to leave no doubt as it is reality. Yet marriages are made in heaven. The claim of the Roman Church to make and unmake them is blasphemous assumption. No ceremony can add to the religious validity, can only be necessary to the legal and publicity. Monogamy prevents marriage. And in 2026, it is very evident. This chart right here, marriage rate of per 1,000, even in after World War II, it was at what, 17, 18 people per 1,000 were getting married. Now it's less than 6. You see that fall off. Especially for this fall off. Why is this the case? This country is stock market is all times high. The richest, most wealthy, abundance, easy life, convenience at the tip of you can have food delivered to your door. You don't even have to get out of the house. We should be multiplying like rabbits. But marriage is less than 6. It's because of monogamy. When you handcuff people, when you handcuff men, they don't want to do that. Why would they? Why would they willingly handcuff themselves? Not only handcuff themselves, but if they say, hey, if you're going to unhandcuff yourself, i.e., divorce, there goes your arm and there goes your leg because she's taking half your stuff, half your wealth. Why would men want to handcuff themselves to one woman taking half his income? Now he has to support someone in this hard economy. It is. Young men can't compete with houses or anything. Yet they're told they need to stick with one woman, provide everything. Yeah, they can't do that economically. That's why they're not having kids. That's why no one's getting married. Oh, but if you have to support, well, one woman is easier to support than two or three. No, I would beg to differ. Proverbs 31, women, all you need is one to stay at the house, take care of the house, maybe two, and then you got four women. Two can stay at the house, take care of that, and the other two can go work. And guess what? If the man is making 100K and you got each wife making 50K, now you got a 200K household. You can absolutely afford a house. You can absolutely afford this economy. But that is illegal, at least if you sign with the state, which is a polygamous marriage. When you do that, you think you're monogamy, a man and a woman, but when you go to that courthouse, that's three entities: the man, woman, and the state. And actually, I wouldn't even know what it would be: two men and one woman, whatever marriage that would be, which is not biblical. So that's even worse than monogamy is when you go get a marriage license because you got the man, the state, which is another man, and the woman. That's three entities. You're not monogamy. Again, monogamy prevents marriage, and especially when the economy is bad. Look here, economy is bad. I'm gonna assume this is was 70 high inflation. I mean, this is when the economy was the greatest. After World War II, everyone got money. Everyone's buying houses. Right after World War II, we got 17. That's the highest. It's been this steady decline. Even though we are supposedly the wealthiest, richest, most abundant nation on earth, and no one wants to get married. No one wants to have kids. Why is that? Because men, even if they don't realize it, they innately know that if they get a wife, they are handcuffed, they are trapped down. So why do that? Monogamy is for weak men. It ensures all the weak men have a wife. And it ensures all the women, most of the women, are childless and husbandless. Because there's not enough men to go around. Especially not enough men to marry or who want to get married. Monogamy is evil. In older and more wealthy countries practicing monogamy, the comparative number of unmarried to married women is even greater. The statistical tables of England show that less than one-third of the marriageable women of that country were living in a marriage at the time of the last census. And this was in 1869. At least this was written in 1869. If you have 1,000 people, 500 women, 500 men, is saying only 6 women are getting married. I bet of those 500 women who are going to be childless and singless for the rest of their lives, I bet they're more than willing to marry the six men, one of the six men that is already married, that is willing to get married. But society says that they are crazy. Society says that is illegal if you go to the courthouse. That's why you don't go to the courthouse. It's a evil marriage if you do that. And I don't even think it's contractually under God a marriage because you have two men. That's another story. But society says to these 500 women, yeah, no husband for you, no man for you, no covering for you. Even though the Bible says they all need to have covering. Jesus is your covering. Really? Obviously, they deny these women their rights, natural rights. These weak simp pastors who can barely have one wife because they are simps, and I don't understand why men and women listen to them. Weak men are monogamous. Monogamy prevents marriage. And here we are. These rates is in the gutter. Do better.